Hello, everyone. I all hope you had a very, very wonderful weekend and a very, very beautiful weekend that you had. This week that I'm quietly back today, I'm quietly back, guys, and I'm back until Friday, as quietly as planned until Friday, which is exactly what I'm exactly saying to you guys. I'm back until Friday, and you'll keep seeing me on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday until Friday. So last episode we spoke about Red Bolt, who became the founder of the Order of the Dark Order, a group of supervillains, who are quietly dedicated to controlling the sacred world and the sacred universe and humanity in the process. So now let's exactly get to it. Red Bull continued extending invitations to powerful criminals known as James Tyler. James is a Noten Knight assassin supervillain. Tyler is also a Noten Knight assassin supervillain who also left the Order of the Five, an ancient secret society of supervillains that decides the fate of humankind, and that wants to rule and conquer the known worlds and also the known universe and also the sacred world and the sacred universe. The two of them left the organization with another Noten Knight assassin, and they decided to join forces with Red Bolt. Red Bolt extended more invitations to certain powerful criminals known as Lady Smoke. Lady Smoke is a supervillain and also a deadly assassin, fearfully and well known throughout the sacred world against the Four Nation Hunters. She's not meant to be underestimated. Jackal, who is a powerful supervillain and a dedicated assassin. In his mission, he never quietly fails any assassination attempts or any hits. He's a very, very ruthless and cruel assassin and a very sadistic villain. And as well, Mary. Mary is a very, very powerful supervillain who's very, very great with the ability of invisibility and also great with the power of cloaking and the power of cloaking and the ability of camouflage. She's not meant to be underestimated. She's one of the deadliest assassins in the entire sacred world. According to the 4Nation database, Mary is not meant to be underestimated. She uses these abilities of cloaking and adaptability in order to kill her targets and execute them. Not meant to be underestimated. Last but not least, Belle. Belle is the most fearful assassin and the most fearful supervillain who's been wanted by the sacred authorities of the sacred world for her past crimes and assassination, the past leaders of the Four Nation Council. During at that time, she departed ways from the sacred world and lived in the human world, where her skills could be quite invaluable and put to the test. Bell became more conflicted than against the Intergalactic Coalition and against the Four Nation Alliance that she will still be wanted. So in doing so, Red Bolt extended an invitation to her in order for her to join forces with him and became a high-ranking member of his secret society of supervillains known as the Dark Order, which Bell which Bell exactly accepted the offer and accepted the invitation to joining forces with Red Bolt. With these members joining forces together with Red Bolt, they became a powerful group of supervillain and assassins, together in utilizing their resources for their goals, for their own goals and for their own ambition and for their own goals, and also for the organization's goals, and as well as for Red Bolt and as well for Red Bolt's plans and his ultimate goal. They exactly utilize their resources and as well their influence and their power and their connection throughout the sacred underworld and throughout the sacred universe in helping Red Bolt achieve his ultimate goal, and as well achieving his ultimate goal and his ultimate plans to ruling and leading the Shadow Empire through its greatest future and in controlling the known universe and the sacred world and humanity by any means necessary, guys. By any means necessary. In the 5th of February, the members of the Dark Order were able to reconvene at the central command headquarters of the Shadow Empire, where Red Bull was able to reassured the members of the Dark Order that everything else will go quietly, technically as planned as it's supposed to be planning, and everything else will go quietly as planned. But Lady Smoke began to question if the method of the Shadow Empire warlord who failed the hit on the assassination on the sacred team would it be an unable successfully debacle on their mission or on their mission to suppress other worlds or other planets. Red Bolt reassured Lady Smoke that the tactic and the plan is still crucial and is still working the exact same way as it is working even now. The plan is quite mandatory and it will work. The Shadow Empire warlord was able to injure some of the members of the Sacred Team during his hit and his assassination attempt, and was able to kill some of the other members of the Sacred Team. After his failed hit, was able to report back to the members of the Dark Order on the 6th of February, telling him that the hit was successful work, the assassination was successful work, and it was a great successful work and a great successful attempt. But also Bile exactly noted that the heroes managed to survive from a full blow, stating that the assassination attempt was in order for them to find out if they're secretly coordinating with the Universal Heroes and with the Universal Earth Heroes, and as well with the Intergalactic Coalition and the Four Nation Intercouncil. Despite this, Jackal confirmed that, saying that the Universal Heroes are the Universal Earth Heroes and the Universal Space Heroes and the Universal Defending Heroes are secretly coordinating together with the Sacred Team and are secretly working together in order to bring down the Shadow Empire and also the other ancient secret societies of supervillains such as the Founders, the Order of the Five, the Order of the Six, the Galactic, the Sacred Circle, the Unholy Alliance, the Shadow Empire Warlords and Commanders, Lord Winter, Lord Justin, Lord Shadow Jack, Lord Justin, Lord Shadow Jack, Lord Ra, and the Sacred Circle, and the Galactic and the Unholy Alliance, and all the other ancient secret societies that they are exactly trying to bring down and trying to take them down with their suppressive abilities. Red Bull stated that the Universal Heroes and the Universal Earth Heroes and the Sacred Team and the Intergalactic Coalition cannot be underestimated. They are quietly too powerful and too deadly. They have to be taken out, effective immediately. The Shadow Empire Warlord agreed that, saying that the tactic will be quietly planned and will be quietly there's a quietly plan in place, stating that the Universal Earth Heroes will be taken care of, and everything else will be able to be dealt with, and they'll be wiped out soon as possible, as he quietly said. Mary, on the other hand, was quietly worried that the Sacred Team and the Universal Earth Heroes will try to take down the operation, as well as their sinister plans in controlling humankind and the rest of the planet Earth. But Red Bolt reassured her that the tactic and the plan is quietly still in action, and the plan will exactly work the way it was intended to, and it will exactly succeed in doing so. Few months after the reconvening, the members of the Dark Order began planning their tactics and their schemes in order to stop the Shadow Empire from rising to power, from ascending to power, and preventing the new Lord of Magic from taking control of the Shadow Empire and his new ancient secret society from exactly ruling the Shadow Empire, and leading it through its greatest future. The Intergalactic Coalition was able to deliver a major blow, a major victorious blow against the Shadow Empire by liberating 22,000 worlds from the Shadow Empire's control and grip, meaning in doing so the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders continually to battle the Universal Heroes and also the Intergalactic Coalition. By doing so, they were outsmarted and outmatched, and they were successfully defeated by the heroes and by the allies' resources. Some of the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders were ultimately taken straightly into custody and sentenced straightly to the Astral Prison, or the Sacred Prison, or the Dark Ark, which is another prison, or the Dark Ark, which is another prison where they'll be mysteriously sentenced by. One other Shadow Empire warlord and commander sent a text out to Red Bolt, who Red Bolt was sitting at the throne room at the time, and he received a text out from the Shadow Empire warlord, stating that he's inside the Astral Prison and that it's time for them to exactly do what he needs to do. Red Bolt told him to stand by and be on wait. And told him to stand by and to remain still. The timing is still quite fresh, as he told him by the text, and he told him to remain still exactly where he is while he works up his other plan and his other movement. Despite at the time, the dark druids and the dark witches have come up with another way, to harness shadow energy, have come up with another way to harvest shadow energy and all the other blue crystals and minerals at the time. They were able to appear to the throne room to Red Bolt, stating in that they found a very faster way to acquire shadow energy and all magical energies by creating a dark device, by creating a huge dark device known as a dark energy expel, capable of harvesting shadow energy and magic energy in a matter of minutes. Exactly. Red Bolt was quietly, reluctantly pleased with this discovery and decided it's best that he test this dark magical ritual and device, which the dark druids sadistically quietly implied, saying that they will not fail him or they will not fail his new empire, as they exactly stated. On the 16th of February, on an unknown planet, on an unknown magical planet, on top of the planet's atmosphere, the Dark Druids began their ritual as Red Bolt was watching, as Red Bolt was watching them converge their dark magic together with the combining their dark magic with science, with science and magic, combining dark magic and science on a purple crystal, combining it with science, and combining dark magic and science on a purple crystal in order to harvest all the shadow energy and magic, which they did. They combined the dark magic and science together, and they were able to snap the shadow energy and magic energy in a matter of minutes and times, which are possibly able to do that exactly, and they were successfully able to succeed by snapping the energy and magic. Red Bolt was quite successfully pleased, saying that this could empower his new empire, his new shadow empire in his own way, saying that this could exactly help the shadow empire in conquering worlds and planets so quickly and also so fast, and very darkly, so fast and very quietly, quickly, saying that this could exactly help him speed up his conquest and his mission and his long-term plans that he has for the galaxy and for the sacred universe and for the world and for planet Earth, which means that it's time that he speeds up his work and his mission. He texted the Shadow Empire warlord and commander to start creating ruckus and chaos, which he exactly did on the Astral Prison. He created a ruckus and a riot on the Astral Prison, forcing the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders to fight each other. The guards of the Astral Prison were quietly put on high alert, and so were quietly able to arrive in order to stop the riot and the chaos put up by the one Shadow Empire warlord and commander. But the Sacred Team was able to arrive in order to stop the chaos, and also in order to stop the chaos and put these criminals into their prison cells, which was successfully able to do so. Unaware that one other Shadow Empire warlord who was taken to the Astral Prison had a cell phone on his hand, able to text Red Bull, stating that the Sacred Team has quietly arrived in the Astral Prison, meaning that his work can exactly come, meaning his operation can exactly begin. Red Bull told the other Shadow Empire warlord and commander was at the throne room that it's time for him to conquer more worlds and more planets, which is successfully doing so. The Shadow Empire warlord and commander launched their fleets on other worlds and other planets, which by ordering them to taking over other worlds and other planets, which in doing so they launched a full-scale invasion on the other worlds and other planets. The other civilizations of other worlds and planets fought back with everything else they had, which created an all-out battle from two sides, as both sides were quietly decimated. Both sides were quietly enormously decimated from the battleships, the battle cruisers of the Elder Empire warlords and commanders. Rain fell from the sky as the enemy's fleet kept on moving on the battle cruisers, decimating their warships and their battle cruisers. Both sides were quietly facing enormous amounts of casual losses. But the other alien civilizations were able to fight back, and they became resilient, and they were so persistent, able to stop the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders from conquering their worlds and their home planet, which they were able to do so by preventing them. They were ultimately able to take some of the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders into custody at the time, able to exactly asking them questions and interrogating them, and who was exactly behind this orchestration. Mindcrow was able to read through his mind, and all he could say is that it was Red Bolt. And Mindcrow questioned to ask the citizens of the planet, and asking them who the hell is exactly is Red Bolt. The other alien civilization had no idea exactly who Red Bolt is. They had no idea exactly who or was what was Red Bolt, and they quietly never heard that name ever before. They said that they don't know exactly who Red Bolt is, and they never quietly had a name or had a name of a supervillain, had a name of a supervillain, had a name of such had a name of such of a terrifying supervillain name ever like that. Mind Girl began to meet with the members of the Sacred Team, with the members of the Sacred Team on the 5th of March, telling them that Red Bolt is becoming a threat and is becoming a powerful threat. Universal Man was able to come in through a hologram, telling them that Dark Master's Empire's forces have been neutralized, in telling them that the Shadow Empire, they should focus all their method and all their strategies in eliminating the Shadow Empire's forces and hidden fleets from conquering vast worlds and vast civilization. Mind Girl was able to tell the Universal Man that the Shadow Empire has a new leader known as Red Bolt. Universal Man was able to ask the question, who the hell is Red Bolt? Mind Girl was able to say Red Bolt is a new sinister villain, is a new powerful enemy, and looks like he's a new leader of the Shadow Empire, and he's been orchestrating all these attacks and all these events from working in his favor. It appears that he's the one sitting on the throne. Universal Man began to question, isn't that the new Lord of Magic sitting at the new throne with his new ancient secret society? Well, apparently it's only Red Bolt who's quietly sitting at the throne, and he's the one in power right now, and he's the one commanding the Shadow Empire and all the other warlords to do his bidding, and also completing his ambition and as well as his plans. Universal Man was quietly distraught, very quietly distraught and very quietly disturbed to know that the Shadow Empire has a new leader in charge of it, and it has a new leader known as Red Bolt, who's a supervillain and a leader and a founder of an ancient secret society of supervillains known as the Dark Order. Despite this, Graceland became more reluctantly unpleased that he has a new enemy, and this new enemy has seized the power of the Shadow Empire, using it to his advantage in order to conquer worlds and planets, and disrupt the sacred peace that the Four Nation Hunters and the Alliance and the Universal Heroes and his allies have been fighting for many, many years, and even now. Despite this, Universal Man became determined and became more persistent to stop this enemy, became more persistent and more determined to stop this new enemy in his goal and in his conquest to conquering worlds and planets, and conquering the sacred universe and humankind by all means necessary. Red Bolt was able to reconvene with the members of the Dark Order with the members of the Dark Order on the 5th of April at the Shadow Empire Central Command headquarters, telling them that the plan is quietly in place, everything else is going the way it's supposed to be. James began to ask exactly, Universal Man is quietly well aware of your movements and everything else. He's literally quietly well aware of your movements and your planning and all of that, meaning that he could disrupt our efforts and everything else that we're trying to do. Red Bolt began to tell him that even if Universal Man knew exactly what's him behind everything else, there was nothing else he could possibly do to disrupt the plans that are really quietly made, and all the preparations are quietly set. All the other worlds and all the other planets will be conquered. Now that I've quietly harvested all the shadow energy and all the magic energy, the dark druids and the dark witches and the dark faithful can now begin experimenting with the energy's power and harnessing its power in order to maintain the Shadow Empire, becoming the most dominant, powerful force in the entire known universe and in the rest of sacred existence, meaning Dark Master, Lord Shadowjack, Lord Winter King, Lord Ra, Lord Justin won't even have the power or the capacity to compete with the Shadow Empire ever again, or to underestimate its power and its ability to rising from the ashes and becoming the most powerful, dominant empire in the entire known universe, in the rest of sacred history, and in the rest of sacred existence, which he began to assure the members of the Dark Order. Lady Smoke said that your ambition is very quietly inspirational and quietly surprising, which is why we exactly need to prepare more of our assassins in order to wiping out the Four Nation Hunter Council. Red Bolt said it to Lady Smoke that it's best that you exactly take priority of that matter, while the rest of us will begin taking priority of our operations in order to tighten our grip within the Shadow Empire so that the Shadow Empire can never lose its power or lose its capacity to becoming the most dominant force in the entire known universe and in the rest of the sacred universe, which is exactly why it'll remain and is exactly why it'll still remain so by any means necessary. Despite this, the Shadow Empire warlords and commandos launched an attack against the Sacred Team. The Sacred Team became persistent and resilient at that time, able to prevent the enemy from conquering worlds and enslaving other species and other alien races. By doing so, they were able to successfully preventing them and able to exactly fight them off. In doing so, exactly, they were able to take some of the enemies into custody, able to exactly ask them questions about Red Bolt and his involvement in this operation, which they weren't able to exactly speak or say anything else by any of that matter. But despite this, the Intergalactic Coalition was able to liberate many worlds and many planets and many worlds and many planets throughout the sacred world and throughout the sacred universe by saving all the inhabitants, by saving all the inhabitants across the known universe and as well across the sacred universe. By eliminating the Shadow Empire's chance in conquering worlds and as well as planets and civilizations across the sacred universe and as well throughout the sacred existence by preventing them. They were able to exactly question the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders about their newfound leader known as Red Bolt, and his plannings and vision. But all they said that Red Bolt is a new leader of the Shadow Empire and he will forever remain the new leader of the Shadow Empire. That is all they can able to exactly get. Red Bolt was able to hold a video conference with the members of the Dark Order, stating that the plan is exactly working the way it's supposed to be and that everything else has quietly fallen into place the way it was quietly meant to be, meaning that the Intergalactic Coalition and the Universal Heroes have no idea exactly what hit them and they have no idea quietly exactly what placed our spy within their team, meaning that they have no idea exactly what's about to go down. Bell was able to exactly ask the questions exactly, meaning that is the spy able to exactly to expose of his activities or not exactly, and exposing his activities. Red Bolt began to reassure the members of the Dark Order, stating that the spy is exactly fulfilling his objective from the inside, meaning that he will complete the objective as he's supposed to be, and he will exactly succeed in his objective. He began to exactly receive a text from the spy on the inside of the Intergalactic Coalition telling him that everything else is quietly in place and the plan is quietly imminent, meaning he'll keep briefing the members of the Dark Order and as well as Red Bolt as himself, telling him that everything else is quietly falling according to plan. The spy was able to monitor the Universal Earth Heroes with their activities, informing the members of the Sacred Team, telling him that everything else is quietly going the way it's supposed to be, meaning informing them about the activities and the crippling activity, telling them that the Sacred Team and the Universal Earth Heroes are planning on liberating many worlds and many planets, and Red Bolt was quietly pleased and successful with the text he was able to get from his spy on the inside, stating that it's time for Phase 2 to be implemented. Red Bolt began appearing on the monitors throughout the central satellite headquarters of the Shadow Empire, telling them that it's time for them to begin the attack and they're launching invasion on the other worlds and the other planets in order to draw the attention of the Sacred Team, meaning it has to happen effective immediately. The Shadow Empire warlords and commanders sadistically complied and they sadistically quietly agreed on the matter, and which they were able to exactly comply. They began the attack in the other matters, throwing the Sacred Team and the Universal Earth Heroes from the side which they were supposed to be exactly protecting, but unaware that there was a spy within the team, unaware that there was a spy within the Sacred Team and within the Universal Earth Heroes. The other heroes began invading other worlds and fighting and clashing with the other Shadow